deliver the keynote address for the MBA Annual Conference 2023, Mr. Tony Elumelu.
Communities are lifted out of poverty. I'm a beneficiary of this. My mom greatly influenced and supported and groomed me. It's no surprise that focus and in our group, our businesses are run largely by women, and they do well. Let us invest in our power sector. Let us create regulatory structures that reward success, that deliver to our people, our hospitals, our schools, and our industries the sustainable, robust power supply that our country so urgently needs. Is it not ironic that a country with abundant gas resources cannot optimally operate its power plants due to lack of gas? But I've seen the beginnings of what we can do. There's hope in what the efforts and steps that have been taken by Mr. President. Let me share with you an example. The Trans-Afan power plant that belongs to Transcorp Group has an installed capacity of 1,000 megawatts. The federal government of Nigeria made significant investment prior to privatization to acquire 240 megawatts fast power turbine from General Electric. For context, 240 megawatts of electricity can power about 1 million homes out of darkness. Yet, General Electric has threatened to pull out of the project because our nation, with some of the largest gas reserves globally, could not provide 65 million scores of gas needed for the comprehensive testing of the installed fast power. We have idle gas fields, and there's so much private capital to make the needed investment for gas production. Yet we cannot produce gas to power our economy and the 21st century industrialization that we need. Thanks to a short-sighted regulatory regime and self-serving policies that keep our people permanently in the dark. This has to change. In 2015, Egypt invested in this fast power because it's a recent GE technology. They bought 20 turbines, that is 600 megawatts. Nigeria, in 2016, out of his wisdom, bought 240 megawatts. Within 6 months, Egypt has installed and commissioned their power plant. Nigeria, 2016 to 2023, we have not completed the installation because we do not have gas. This has to change, and we have confidence in Mr. President that it will change. And let us invest in our social infrastructure. Let us invest in our society, in our civil society. Let us invest in our courts of law and our administration of justice. No country and no entrepreneur can truly thrive without the rule of law, without peace, without certainty and fairness for all. For our young, our old, our men, our women, and our future generations. Let us invest in security, banditry. Nigeria is endowed with arable land. Nigeria can feed all of Africa. But we all know how food has become an issue. We all see the inflation. We see how food has become unattainable because our people cannot freely go and farm. Kidnapping. My mom, over 90 years old, was kidnapped in Delta. We had to relocate her to Lagos at that age for peace. Pipeline vandalization. Oil theft. During the oil boom that happened recently, we could not even meet 50% of our OPEC oil supply, approved oil supply. Saudi Arabia made over $800 billion. Yes, they produce more than us, but at least if we're able to produce at the high oil price, things would have been different. So insecurity is a problem, and we need to fix insecurity. It is important. These challenges create uncertainties, fears, deprivation, poverty, and untold hardship for our people. Let us invest in brand Nigeria. We know the frustrations. We know the joblessness of our youth is a betrayal of a generation. And the plundering of our Commonwealth is inhumane and cruel. But we have no other place, no other motherland than Nigeria. So we must begin to show and share a sense of pride in Nigeria, especially if we are seeing positive beginnings. We must begin again to rekindle our hope and have confidence in Nigeria and our leaders. Let us be proud of Nigeria. If you go to Washington, if you go to Singapore and other countries, wherever you walk, you see homes, shops, offices, proudly displaying their national flags, proudly displaying their national flags. Do you see this even in our government agencies and buildings here in Nigeria? Even less in private homes and corporate places. Someone might say, what does it matter? But it matters that we show confidence and begin to have a sense of pride in Nigeria. Things will, of course, get better. Let us invest in Nigeria as private sector leaders. It's not about saving our monies abroad. This country needs capital formation. This country needs savings. Let's invest locally so that we are respected abroad and we live at peace and prosperously at home. When we speak, as we rightly do, of nation building, that is the Nigeria I dream of. It is the Africa I also dream of. I know that with the audacity, courage, support, the goodwill, the resilience, and the dedication of those in this room, it is a dream that will also become our reality in our lifetime. We know Nigerians will talk, and today we are surrounded by advocates that we know we can argue and can dispute, but it's now time to act, time to execute, time to come together, united for the purpose of taking Nigeria forward. There's an urgency. This urgency is driven by our enormous younger generation. This urgency is driven by the threat of climate change. This urgency is driven by the clock ticking on our natural resources, which will soon become insignificant because of the global race towards green economy. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President, let our pursuit of nation building be characterized by unwavering determination, empathy, and a commitment to create a legacy of progress, unity, and hope for generations to come. I am a Nigerian. I owe everything to Nigeria. I'm proud of Nigeria. I'm proud to be a Nigerian. Let us honor our country. Let's respect our leadership. Let us honor our people. Let us truly build our nation. And in doing so, deliver to our young ones the future and destiny they so rightly deserve in Nigeria and in our lifetime. Let history remind us. Let history remember us, not for our individual achievements, not for the balances in our bank accounts. Let history remember us for our collective efforts in building a nation that stands as a beacon of hope and inspiration, not just for Nigerians, not just for Africans, but for the entire black race. Let us be inspired by the lessons of history. Let us be motivated by sacrifices of our forefathers. Let us be guided by the wisdom of our elders, and let us be energized by the aspirations of our youth. Thank you very much. United with one ambition, one duty, and that is nation building. I thank Mr. Yakubu Makia, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, President of Nigerian Bar Association, and his leadership for the honor of speaking here today and the wisdom of the choice of topic. Yes, united, whatever our backgrounds, geographies, religions, experiences, united by a single desire, the desire to ensure that our country experiences a true renaissance. There is no one in this distinguished gathering who does not want the best for our dear country, Nigeria. Whether my learned friends of the bar or our distinguished leaders present, we know the potential of Nigeria. We know the resources, human and natural, that Nigeria has at our disposal. We champion the successes of Nigerians globally in international leadership positions at the World Trade Organization, at the United Nations, at the African Development Bank, at the Afrexim Bank, in technology, in music and entertainment, in business, in arts and in media, in film, in sports. There's a lot that Nigerians have achieved. Indeed, in virtually every human endeavor, Nigerians excel. We live in a world where the Secretary of State for Business and Trade grew up, UK Secretary of State, or Secretary of State for Business and Trade grew up in Lagos. We live in a world where the United States Deputy Secretary of Treasury was born in Ibadan. In business, the Nigerian private sector is showing globally our capability, our ingenuity, our institutionalization. We have global businesses with Nigerian origins. Let me name one. UBA, the United Bank for Africa, is the only African bank that operates in the United States of America as a deposit-taking bank. We are in Dubai, Paris, and London, and just as importantly, 20 other countries in Africa. Who would have thought 20 years ago that Nigeria would be home to Africa's global bank? But these successes, these achievements, these role models are too few, too rare for a country blessed with over 200 million people. We know too well the reality of Nigeria at home. We know our energy deficits. We experience the disillusionment of our youth, manifest in the tragic loss of talent as our young ones at times and at great risk to themselves seek opportunities abroad. Opportunities that our fertile, bountiful country should supply. We see the plundering of our commonwealth through oil theft and pipeline destruction in broad daylight. We experience every day the impact of climate change. We see our loved ones killed and kidnapped. Insecurity breeds disorder, feeds intolerance, and destroys opportunity. Our country has experienced division, unnecessary division, and the squandering of our heritage. But nation building is a call to arms, a vital task, in fact, a necessity. At its core, nation building is the intricate process of forging a cohesive, harmonious, and united society out of diverse individuals, culture, and ideologies. It is the art of constructing a shared identity, purpose, vision that transcends all individuals. Transforming Nigeria is a journey that demands our collective dedication, building across political affiliations, ethnic differences, and socioeconomic differences. Building and transforming our nation is one that is not the responsibility of our government alone. Great nations start with great people, not great leaders. Our private sector, our philanthropists, our civil society, our citizens must be brought together and be empowered as real and valued and executing partners for this national renewal, this nation building. It behoves all of us to collaborate in unity to reset our country, Nigeria. So what does this mean? For me, this is nothing less than a fundamental renewal of the social and economic infrastructure of Nigeria. The contract between a nation and its people. We have already seen that tough, long-avoided economic decisions can and have been taken. We salute the political will and courage that have been found to address the root causes of issues, to introduce policies for the long term, not for the short term. Let us build on this boldness and let us say congratulations, Mr. President, for what has been done so far. Nation building is not a quick fix. Nation building entails sacrifices. We cannot keep doing the same thing and expect different outcomes. That is the definition of insanity. So things must change. And in the short term, it will, of course, come with some short-term pains. But if you see beyond that, there will be maximum gains. Let us lead our nation building by laying those important foundations for our nation. Let us renew our infrastructure. When I talk of infrastructure, I do not mean just roads, not just ports or bridges or rail. I mean the following. 1, investment in our youth, investment in our young ones. We need to renew our commitment to our youth. Provide them with the means to succeed in Nigeria and not beyond Nigeria. This means not just investment in our education system, which of course is important, but investment in our entrepreneurial culture. Nigeria is a nation of entrepreneurs. You know me as an investor and champion of entrepreneurs and youth. I know the social and economic benefits and returns entrepreneurship creates. Let us create a joint government task force to champion at the highest level our young and our entrepreneurs. When entrepreneurs succeed, we succeed as a nation. If they don't, we all fail. In my engagement with fellow private sector leaders, my message is simple. We must see ourselves as the engine of innovation for our country. We must see ourselves as source of investment in our country. We must see ourselves as the creators of jobs for the jobless in our society. This is exactly what we have achieved at the Tony Elumelu Foundation. The nurturing of entrepreneurship is not merely an economic endeavor. It is a social responsibility. By empowering our youth, supporting startups and small and medium-scale enterprises, the private sector contributes to contributes to equitable wealth distribution, job creation, and social advancement. It paves the way for economic empowerment that uplifts communities and contributes to a more inclusive society. We all owe this to our people, even for our own enlightened self-interest. This is what I call Afro-capitalism. It is conscious capitalism. It's not an exclusive capitalism. It's not an exclusive club of a few. It's fair-minded capitalism. It's equitable capitalism. It's shared values and shared value. It's about shared destiny and shared prosperity. Not prosperity at the expense of inclusiveness. Prosperity for the majority, not for the few. When my wife, Aule, and I committed $100 million to help democratize law and empower our youth through the Tony Elumelu Foundation, giving annual non-refundable grants of $5,000 seed capital each beneficiary, now received by over 18,000 young ones. It was not out of an abundance of wealth. Rather, it was our own contribution in spreading prosperity and making the world a better and safer place for all of us. Poverty anywhere is a threat to all of us everywhere. The ultimate solution for insecurity and extremism is eradication of poverty and the provision of abundance of prosperity. This is why all of us must think of legacy and play our own role and part now that we can, to urgently support our young ones to become economically engaged, else we are all doomed. We must give them hope of a better tomorrow. Let us not underestimate the power of hope, gentlemen and ladies. Hope is what fuels the dreams of our youth. Hope is what ignites the determination of our entrepreneurs. Hope is what unites us all in our pursuit of a better future. Nations that prioritize their young go far. It is no coincidence that an America that created Harvard and Stanford also produced Amazon, Google, Microsoft. We need the same focus on our young. We need the same focus on their futures and ambitions. Let us invest in our women. When a woman succeeds, families and communities